All right, let's dive in. Making sure I am going to go live here. Boom. And I think this is it. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, I think we're good. Well, so my name is Tyler Watson. I'm your elite performance coach, and I'm here to dive in on the power of your body instead of just working on the mind. And to show a great example of that, I actually want to tell a story about my dad, who's a clinical kinesiologist, and using a process or a tool called muscle testing. Now, when we're trying to attain our goals, a lot of us just work on the mindset. And the problem with if you're only working on your mindset, but your body is off balance, then you could take months, sometimes even years before attaining your goal. Why? Is because your body has memory stored in it, not just in the mind. And most of us don't know how to measure that. So, muscle testing is a really cool thing. There's a lot of woo-woo stuff out there on muscle testing, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's not real, that's fake. So, I want to share some context to this. I've been doing muscle testing since I was a baby and taught since I was a baby. So, it's something that I've seen so many times that I know it does have an impact. Can it be swayed and thrown off? Absolutely. However, there is a lot of power in learning how to measure your body. So, one time my dad, who we were living in Arkansas at the time, I was probably 12 or 13 years old, and he had a client that in the middle of the night comes to his house. It was like midnight and starts banging on the door. It wakes him up, and this lady looks like she's on her deathbed. She's literally like short of breath and pale, sweating, like all the signs of a heart attack. My dad is freaking out because he's like, you do not need to be here. You need to go to a hospital. And he does not want her to die on his doorstep, you know? And so the clinic's probably about 100, 200 yards from the house. They go to the clinic. He's like, okay, whatever. Let's just figure this out. So he's going through and checking all of these different vials, and he thinks it's signs for heart attack. So he pulls up a vial for a homeopathic injection for any type of symptom that's going for heart attack. So he sees the sign of a heart attack, all of the clear indicators, and he loads up the needle. And as he's going to poke her, he hears this voice that says, muscle test. And he's like, she is literally dying right now. And he says out loud, I don't have time. She kind of looks at him like, what are you talking to? And he's going again, and the intuition hits and says, muscle test. So he does. He goes through this muscle testing process where he's using his body to measure the vibrational patterns of what is accurate or what is not accurate. And in the moment, he goes through, checks all these vials, and he picks up that there's this weird German homeopathic thing that he's never used that is what she's calling for. So he's like, okay, pulls it up and gives it to her. And part of him's thinking, oh my gosh, is she going to die? Like, what did I just give her? And within about 2, 3, 4 seconds, she's sitting there, wondering, and a few seconds go by, and all of a sudden, she breathes, her face, everything changes. All the symptoms of the heart attack goes away. And he's wondering, like, what the heck did I just give you? And he looks it up and ends up being some sort of homeopathic to counter unknown chemical substances, reactions to unknown chemical substances. So he asks this lady, and he's like, does this resonate? Like, what's going on here? And she tells him that day she's a cleaner by trade. And that day she switched out some of her cleaning supplies. And there was this unknown substance that her company gave her to start cleaning with. She was having an anaphylactic reaction to. And so because of the ability to muscle test, my dad was able to pinpoint exactly what needed to be given to the lady at the specific time to save her life. Now, what does that have to do with entrepreneurship? What does that have to do with anything? And as I've studied the body and worked on thousands of clients, I have seen that the body is more intelligent than what even our brains. And you can pick up subconscious and cellular conscious memory through muscle testing, which will pinpoint what needs changed and what you need to change in the order that it needs to be changed. So if somebody is stuck making a certain amount of income, or if you're feeling like you're struggling all the time, or things aren't working how you want, or your lifestyle starts to collapse, and you're wondering, why is this happening? Well, instead of just using mindset techniques and visualizations, what if you had a way to pinpoint exactly where in your body the resistance was, and then had a pathway or a tool or a process to change it? And that's the power of muscle testing and understanding the power of the body. When you can understand what's beyond the subconscious into cellular conscious, and you start making changes, you're able to get results in a fraction of the time. So with that, I actually created a really cool PDF for you that if you'd like, just drop in the chat, comments, wherever you're watching this on, and put in breakthrough, and I'll get that to you. It's a process that I did where I took my goals, and this I started over probably about 8 years ago, and I would set a goal and I would look at it, kind of like a vision board process, and I'd write out my goal. And back then, it was one of my goals to hit to sell like a $12,000 program. It was something that I hadn't done before, so I was like, man, this would be super cool. I would love to sell a 12K program. And so I visualized it. I did all these things. I did all the things that everybody said, but I still had resistance that kept me from doing it, and it was taking longer than I thought. So I wanted to make this happen. So I thought, and it hit me, oh man, if I could muscle test and check how fully in integrity my body was towards that goal, if I'm 100% aligned to it, then I should be able to attain that goal in a fraction of the time. And so I actually compiled about 10 to 15 questions that you can ask yourself, and you can use muscle testing or intuition. I have a guide on that. I'll give you with that PDF. I'll even hook you up with a little training on how to do it. And as I went through this, I started to do this every single day for like 2 weeks. And 2 weeks went by, and I remember it was so cool because I had this lady and I was talking to her doing a strategy session, and she bought my $12,000 package. And I was like, oh my gosh, this happened. And it happened when all of my body was fully on board with these key questions. So I want to gift that to you for watching this video. Thanks for being a part of this. Learn about the power of the mind and the body. And as you can connect the two, instead of just working on the mind, but incorporate the power of the body, you can truly become unstoppable. Thanks for watching this. And if you'd like that PDF and that training, just drop breakthrough down below, and I will hook you up so that you can start to work on your goals. And instead of taking months or years wondering what's slowing you down, you'll be able to know exactly what's slowing you down and pinpoint how to shift it. Cool? All right. We'll see you next time.